Mastering password policies. You can't trust outsiders with your passwords. How can we guarantee that third-party vendors and contractors adhere to our password policy requirements, including password complexity, rotation, and access controls, to prevent potential security breaches and maintain operational excellence? To ensure third-party vendors and contractors comply with password policy requirements, a multifaceted approach should be implemented. This includes 1. Contractual agreements. Include password policy requirements in contractual agreements with third-party vendors and contractors. Clearly outline the expectations, responsibilities, and consequences of non-compliance. This will provide a legal foundation for enforcing password policy adherence. 2. Vendor risk management. Establish a vendor risk management program to assess the potential risks associated with each vendor or contractor. This program should evaluate the vendor's password policies, procedures, and controls. Identify high-risk vendors and prioritize them for thorough assessments and remediation. 3. Password policy communication. Provide clear, concise, and regularly updated documentation of password policy requirements to all third-party vendors and contractors. Ensure they understand the policies, procedures, and technical requirements for password complexity, rotation, and access controls. 4. Access request and approval. Implement a formal access request and approval process for third-party vendors and contractors. This process should include verification of the vendor's or contractor's identity, validation of their need for access, and approval by designated personnel. 5. Multi-factor authentication. Require third-party vendors and contractors to use multi-factor authentication, MFA, to access company resources. MFA adds an additional layer of security to the authentication process, making it more difficult for attackers to gain unauthorized access. 6. Regular audits and compliance checks. Perform regular audits and compliance checks to ensure third-party vendors and contractors are adhering to password policy requirements. These audits should include reviews of password complexity, rotation, and access controls. 7. Password vaulting and management. Consider implementing a password vaulting and management system to securely store and manage passwords for third-party vendors and contractors. This system can generate and rotate complex passwords, reducing the risk of weak or compromised passwords. 8. Segregation of duties. Implement segregation of duties to limit the access and privileges granted to third-party vendors and contractors. This will prevent any single individual or entity from having unrestricted access to sensitive resources. 9. Incident response plan. Develop and implement an incident response plan that outlines the procedures for responding to security incidents involving third-party vendors or contractors. This plan should include procedures for incident containment, eradication, recovery, and post-incident activities. 10. Training and awareness. Provide regular training and awareness programs for third-party vendors and contractors on password policy requirements, security best practices, and the importance of adhering to password policies. 11. Third-party risk rating. Establish a third-party risk rating system to assess the overall risk posed by each vendor or contractor. This system should consider factors such as the vendor's or contractor's password policy adherence, incident history, and security controls. 12. Continuous monitoring. Continuously monitor third-party vendors and contractors for password policy compliance. This includes real-time monitoring of password-related activities, such as login attempts, password changes, and access requests. 13. Enforcement and consequences. Establish clear consequences for non-compliance with password policy requirements, including termination of contracts or access revocation. Enforce these consequences consistently and fairly to ensure third-party vendors and contractors understand the importance of adhering to password policies. By implementing these measures, organizations can ensure that third-party vendors and contractors adhere to password policy requirements, reducing the risk of security breaches and maintaining operational excellence.